We're coming up on the end of August 2025, and we just got the latest home value data from Zillow, who tracks every single home in the entire country, puts a value on it, and we get some aggregate data on the value trends in every market. But I want to dig into Albuquerque, of course, because that's where we are. I look at this every month, and the chart we're looking at right here is something I put together to track what the home values are based on their data, as well as the year-over-year trends and the month-to-month trend. Now, what Zillow does, like I said, they look at every home in the entire country and they put a value on it. It's called the Zestimate. Many people are familiar with it. And from home to home, the accuracy maybe not so perfect, but as an aggregate for the entire market, it's a really good way to see where home prices are trending. I've been looking at this for years, and I've found it to be really accurate when I compare it to things like price per square foot, median price, other home price indexes that we look at. So it's a really good gauge of where we are and how we compare to other markets around the country. All right, with all that said, July, we ended up at $346,000 for the typical Albuquerque area home. That's the way they call it. 346,000. That's up 1.84% from 1 year ago, and up 0.12% from from June to July. And that's not as much as we generally see this time of year. And I'm going to show you my other chart here. This is one I made. This is the one that makes people's eyes go cross when they look at it. So what we're looking at here is a percent change every single month in home values in the Albuquerque area from 1999 all the way through to basically last month, July of 25. The red color here is where home prices have increased from the previous month, where the blue colors are where home prices have decreased. The lighter shades are, in between there. White means they pretty much stayed the same. And so if we look at June to July 2025, right here, down here I'm at 0.12%. Which is pretty moderate. If we can do over the entire 25 years here, the July from June to July on average was 0.71%, 0.7%. So we haven't seen as much appreciation this year as we've seen in other years, but we're still up a little bit. And year over year right now, like I said earlier, we're 0.184% increase, about 2%. So let's jump over and look at the national data. This map shows, I think it's the top 300 markets in the country. And you can see, of course, here, Albuquerque, 1.8% year over year, like we've talked about. And the thing that's interesting about this is the color coding. You can see the Midwest, the East have seen the most appreciation. Milwaukee, 3%, Rochester, New York, about 4%, Detroit, about 4%. Hartford, Connecticut, 4.5%. So some of those markets have seen decent appreciation. Florida is a different story. They've got, minus 10%. Austin's another story, minus 6%. So it just illustrates this whole idea that real estate is always local. And looking at national stats like the Case-Shiller Home Price Index that looks at the entire country, actually it only looks at 30 markets in the country and gives you an idea. It doesn't really give you the full picture of what's going on locally. So Albuquerque has kind of been an outlier. You can see Phoenix, for example, it's down a little bit. El Paso is just barely flat. So we're actually ahead of many of the Southwest markets. All right, forecast. Again, Zillow puts this out every month, and what they do is they look 12 months out. What are home values? Are they expecting home values to do a year from now? I've charted the top 100 markets in the country, and Albuquerque is in the top 10 for 1 year out from now. They're saying 2%. Again, very moderate appreciation. But you can see based on the chart that, let's say about a third are expecting negative. Nationally, they're saying 0.4. And so Albuquerque is in that top area. And again, if we look at it from a regional standpoint, it's us and actually El Paso, which is a very, very similar market to ours, are both, they're expecting about a 2% appreciation. This is actually up from last month where I think they had it like 1.5%. The takeaway is that Albuquerque is been resilient compared to some other areas on home values and holding their value. We're still behind on the number of homes on the market compared to 2019, for example, but it has been slow. There's no doubt about it. It's been a much slower pace than we've seen in a long time. Definitely the years 20, 21, 22. And so we've been, last couple of years here, just steady pace. There'll be about 10,000 homes that sell in the Albuquerque area this year versus it was about 15,000 in 2021, just to put that in perspective. So any questions about real estate in Albuquerque, reach out to us. We're the Venturi Group, Real Broker, 505-448-8888. Take care.